Well, thank you and welcome to today's 2 o'clock consent agenda. It is August 30th, 2022. Let the record reflect that all three commissioners are present. And we did not receive any written testimony for today's agenda, and so we will start with our open public forum. With that, I have 5 people that have signed up for open public forum. Once I read your name, I'll have you come up. You have 3 minutes, and I believe Ron will have the clock on the overhead. And this is for open public testimony is for anything that is not on today's agenda. So that is what this forum is for. So we will start with Gib Brombach.
Is it a privilege to be first?
It is. And
Who
what
do I
would,
give this to for you folks?
so the gentleman here, he is our acting clerk for the day, Jeff McMorris. And then we'll actually have you stay there.
Okay.
That's the microphone, and we'll have you turn
I
that on.
spend more time at the city than the county, so you just tell me what you want. Are we ready to go?
We are ready to go. If you'd state your name and
Yes.
address for the record.
My name is Gib Brumbach. My office is 1717 Russell in the West Hills neighborhood, and that's the reason I'm here. There's a lot of things going on right now, which I know you know, and there's a lot of things going on right now that I don't believe you know. I don't know, and you're invited. We're having a major meeting at the Hampton Inn this evening at 6 o'clock, and that's been established with the mayor, the city, the West Hills neighborhood, and Catholic Charities will be there. A little bit about my background. Some of you may or may not know my name. It doesn't matter. Gib Brumbach. I've been developing in the Spokane region and Seattle, but in the Spokane region for over 40 years. At this point in time, I have 2 projects going on. One at Medical Lake Apartments that really need housing badly, and we're very fortunate to be able to get involved in there, and we're building those right now. And then right now, you may know it, you may not know it, on the South Hill, there's been a crane there for 2 years. And we're converting a medical building and old parking garage to 117 apartments. The main reason I'm here is we bought an office building, what would be now about 3.5 years ago, 25,000 square feet, and it was empty. And so right there, people think you're nuts. We've totally remodeled it and filled it up, mainly with city people and people around Catholic Charities. And that's the reason I'm here. We are requesting the city to open because there was never hearings, there was neighborhood involvement, there was nothing concerning this project. Right now, I have property for 232 units on the West Hills. You may know the name Bill Lawson, a gentleman and a professional, motels and apartments. He just finished units up on top of Sunset, beautiful project overlooking Sunset and also the city. Bill has land to build about 150 apartments. Both Bill and I have totally put everything we're doing on hold. And this is where people can disagree with me. Everybody has their right. What Catholic Charities is planning there will totally destroy this neighborhood for decades. We did not find out about any of this until 4 weeks ago, and I had a long conversation with the mayor, which I appreciate very much. And we're just in a situation now that we're trying to at least stop the money from the Commerce Department and at least have proper hearings for our neighborhood. There's a lot of things, and tell me when I'm done. Anyway, and I would invite all of you, if you have that interest, to the Hampton Inn this evening at 6 o'clock. It's going to be a very interesting meeting, and I'm requesting your involvement in what's going to be going on in the next few weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, next I have Katie Jessup.
She's not able to be here today.
Okay. So then I have Brian Walter.
Good afternoon, County Commissioners. I'm Brian D. Walter. I'm a member of the Sheet Metal Workers Local 55, which is a member of the Spokane Alliance. I am the Spokane business representative. I'm urging you to match the investments from the city and the valley by allocating $4.5 million of the county's ARPA dollars for early learning and childcare. Investing in early childcare learning is important to me because the construction industry, we do not work the typical 8 to 5 job. We have members that will be on the road anywhere from 3:30 to 4 in the morning, and that becomes a challenge with childcare. We have a member that started out in our apprenticeship, and because she was a single parent with 2 kids, it took her 10 years to complete the apprenticeship because she had dropped out twice. But she made the commitment, finding different avenues to get childcare to where she actually graduated, and she's making a living wage with benefits. With the rising cost of housing and childcare, it's becoming more difficult to actually make a decent living and be a productive member in this community and all communities. I'm an ex-military. I served in the United States Army. I was stationed at Fort Lewis. As an E2, you cannot get on-base housing, so I lived in a very bad part of Tacoma. My kids went to childcare late afternoon before I could get off of base and go pick them up, and that was their opportunity to have involvement with kids their age in a safe environment. It was very challenging because my housing allowance barely covered the cost of living in Tacoma, and the only other option I could have had at that time was I could have moved my wife and my 2 kids back home. I maybe would have seen them twice a year. Having to deploy it becomes challenging. I mean, there were times when I would have to leave and go to the field, and then we'd have to make additional arrangements to have people pick my kids up. And so it just, the whole challenges with childcare and the cost of childcare is, it's scary. My kids are grown, but my children are gonna face this reality as they choose to have kids in the near future. And I would like to see the county step up and contribute some money like the Spokane and the Spokane City, or Spokane Valley City did. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you. So next we have, and I hope I say this name correctly, Montserrat Stock.
Yes, it is. Thank you. Yes, my name is Montserrat Stock. I work at MIA Mujeres in Action. I am a member of Spokane Alliance with MIA. MIA is an organization that supports survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault. My husband and I moved from Colorado to Spokane with the hope of escaping the stress of living paycheck to paycheck, but it's the same situation here, pretty much. Even with the 2 full-time incomes, we could only afford 2 half days of childcare a week for only one of our children, and that requires 2 hours of driving to and from the center. 2 hours every day. No, it's a lot. I researched everywhere for affordable childcare. The cheapest slot I found was $800 per month for my daughter to be with 12 other kids in the garage, and I didn't want to have my kid in a garage during the winter. We have 2 children. Having both of them in childcare, it will cost my entire income. I started working at MIA because of the flexibility in hours it offered me. My husband worked from 5 a.m. to 3 p.m., and then I worked from 3 p.m. till 8 or 9 p.m. I saw my husband for 1 hour a day if I was lucky. My family was disconnected. It was very frustrating and painful. The only option I had was to move my mother from Mexico to help us with the childcare. It took about 3 years to make that happen. Unfortunately, my mother has to move back to Mexico. I no longer have her support, so I cannot afford to drive Alondra 2 hours a day to learn the skills she needs to be kindergarten ready. If my husband and I return to the schedule we had from 5 to 8 p.m., my family wouldn't survive. Because I have no options for childcare, I decided yesterday that I need to quit my job at MIA to stay with my kids, with my children. I love to work at MIA. My job at MIA has been the best job I have had so far. I am the HR manager of MIA. For the organization, HR was my profession in Mexico. As an immigrant in this country, I didn't think I was going to get a job like this again. So it took me like about 10 years to learn the language, to get certifications, to get new skills, and I'm quitting my job because I have not a way to have my kids in a childcare. So my family is fighting to survive because the childcare system has failed us. It has failed working families. Childcare is not just for the convenience of my family's schedule and time to share quality time, but it's also for the development and growth of my children. I want them to have social, emotional, and intellectual skills too. I want them to excel in kindergarten and beyond. So in my family with 2 incomes cannot afford childcare for just one of our children, then how we are supposed to keep our jobs while ensuring our children grow into smart, healthy humans? Please allocate American Rescue Plan dollars towards early education for stability in the workforce and support for working families. Thank you.
Thank you. So next I have Zach Whitehouse.
Good afternoon. My name is Zach Whitehouse. My residence is 1024 East 32nd Avenue. I'm here today as the parent of 2 young children and an early childhood educator at Glow Early Learning Center, where we care for the children of teenage parents who are students at Lumen High School, many of who are just now returning to school, some of whom have graduated in the last 2 years and are bringing their children back to be with us because we've developed some strong bonds and trusting relationships. I'm here today because childcare is vital infrastructure. As critical as the bridges that cross the Spokane River and roads that bring us to work, childcare is an essential service to the everyday function of our community and economy. People depend on us every day to care for their children, to understand their emerging needs, to be the ones that are present and responsive when they need it most. And just like neglected bridges, dilapidated roads, without investments, maintenance, and repair, we, the people of the early learning workforce, are in danger of collapse. I've been working in early learning for 20 years, and these last few years during the pandemic have been some of the most challenging. Like many child care centers, we struggle to retain staff and find qualified employees who are willing to dedicate themselves to highly demanding work for minimal compensation. We often barely have enough staff to meet the requirements of our licensing ratios for staff to children. And while these ratios are required to ensure the safety of children, they represent the bare minimum of what is manageable. I don't know how many of you have children, but imagine taking care of 4 infants by yourself, 7 children between 3 to 5, or 7 children between 1 to 3, or 10 children between 3 to 5. We need more staff in our classrooms to offer truly responsive, high-quality caregiving. We need additional support staff to fill in for absences, provide necessary breaks, and support larger groups when one child needs the one-on-one support in times of crisis. We're not able to keep and hire staff because this job is underpaid and overworked, but this has always been the case. During the pandemic, we have given our all on the front line as caregivers, continuing to make sacrifices that are too often taken for granted. During the last school year, we lost several staff members from burnout at a time when several other openings remain unfilled. The start of a new year is always a challenging time for many children whom have experienced personal trauma and the isolation of living most of their life in a pandemic. And while supporting new staff, another child that I was working with became aggressive just this last week during an overstimulating transition from a combined classroom due to lack of staffing. These are some of the challenges that we face every day. Taking care of children has been traditionally undervalued because it has been considered women's work. I have been asked on multiple occasions, when do you think you'll get a real job? I think it's important that I, as a man working in a predominantly female industry, say this. Our work is not compensated like the profession that it is, and we expect childcare workers to sacrifice themselves for children, to put up with harsh conditions without complaints. Our patience and perseverance are not an unlimited resource, and we are proud to be the ones who care for the youngest members of our community.
Thank you. So that is all that I have that have signed up to testify. We are at 15 minutes. It's 2:15 on my clock. That clock's off up there. So, so I will just ask if there is anyone else that wishes to testify. I would allow one more. Is there anyone online? Okay, then I will close the open public forum for this moment in time for today and look to my fellow commissioners.
Madam Chair, I would move that we approve the consent agenda to include items 2A through 2P as presented in today's summary.
I will second the motion.
I don't have the latest. I apologize, I don't have the latest one. I have through O.
Oh,
So,
would you like mine?
no, I got this one. There you go. Okay, so we have an emotion and a second to approve items 2A through 2P on today's agenda. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes unanimously. That will take us to item number 3A, which is a public hearing in the matter of updating the Spokane County Comprehensive Solid Waste Management Plan.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Good afternoon, residents. My name is Lindsay Chapman. I'm a solid waste project manager for Spokane County, and I was the project manager for updating our comprehensive solid waste and moderate risk waste management plan. I have a few brief remarks about this plan and just to give a synopsis of what it is. So what the plan is, it fulfills a Washington state law that requires local governments to establish comprehensive programs for solid waste handling, solid waste recovery, and recycling, which will prevent land, air, and water pollution and conserve the natural, economic, and energy resources of our state. We update these plans about every 5 to 7 years, and so this was our 2022 update. The 2022 plan was almost entirely rewritten and reorganized from the previous 2015 plan. And the rationale for doing so was that the 2015 plan was written in a very short timeline. It carried over elements from when the city of Spokane was the administrator of the regional solid waste system. Secondly, the 2015 plan was pretty text heavy, and there were instances where details of the plan were described multiple times in different plan sections. And lastly, the organization of the 2015 plan was not incredibly useful to current solid waste staff and our SWAC members, the Solid Waste Advisory Committee. So the major changes that we made was that we reorganized the plan as a guidance document instead of just a requirement from state law. We put the most frequently used and referenced information at the front of the plan and the less frequently used information in appendices. When possible, text was summarized using visuals, including pictures and charts and graphs, and then our goals and recommended actions were revamped from previous plans, and we prioritized and were prioritized by county solid waste staff and our SWAC members. The big change here is that there's a new state law that required a contamination reduction and outreach plan, otherwise known as the CROP, for recycling, and that was included. And the CROP was actually written in collaboration with one of our community partners, Spokane River Forum, who assisted us, the county, with and continues to with education outreach. So that was a great collaboration. The last big change is that the City of Cheney's comprehensive solid waste management plan was included as an appendix because they decided to rejoin and opt in to the regional solid waste system. Their plan was included as an appendix just because their plan was already almost entirely written, and the county's plan had already undergone significant review by Department of Ecology. Next slide, please. And lastly, I wanted to highlight that this plan was written with substantial collaboration between Spokane County solid waste staff and our SWAC, which is composed of representatives from our member jurisdictions, the Spokane Regional Health District, members from solid waste and recycling industries, as well as citizens. We have worked closely with the Department of Ecology, who is our regulator throughout this process. Through the review process, the plan is also reviewed for completeness by the Washington State Utilities and Transportation Commission, as well as the Department of Agriculture, and then the plan also undergoes a SEPA review. We've held 2 public comment periods at different stages of the plan, and I thank anyone who has submitted comments during that time to bolster our plan and make it better. And that's it. So thank you for allowing me the time to present some information about our comprehensive solid waste management plan, and I'm open to hearing any comments we have.
Any questions for Lindsay? No? No, very good. Thank you very much. So with that, this is a public hearing item, and so I'll open up the public hearing for anyone that wishes to testify on item number 3A in the matter of updating the Spokane County Comprehensive Solid Waste Management Plan. And if you can state your name and title for the record, and then we're going to give you a yellow form to fill out after you're done. Perfect.
Yes, my name's Tammy Yeager, and I work for WM, formerly known as Waste Management. I'm a senior manager there. And I just wanted to acknowledge the time and effort that staff, county staff put into this, and Commissioner Kearns on the Solid Waste Advisory Commission. I did read the plan from front to back and provided comments, and just wanted to thank staff for looking at the comments and taking those into consideration. As the largest garbage recycler in the county providing service, we value the partnership with the county and appreciated the opportunity to comment. Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, Tammy, we'll just have you fill that out quick. Second call for anyone wishing to testify on number 3A. No one online? Third and final call? Seeing no one online or no one in the audience, I will close the open public hearing and look to my fellow commissioners.
Madam Chair, I would move that we accept the recommendation of our staff in the matter of updating the Spokane County Comprehensive Solid Waste Management Plan as presented today.
I will second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I'd just like to say thank you to all the folks that were involved with this. Deb and Lindsay, thank you for all your hard work, and to the stakeholders and the SWAC committee. So it was a long process, and we're going to bring it all home today.
Very good. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations, ladies. With that, concludes our meeting for today. Are there any other items to come before us? Nope. Seeing none, then we will adjourn, and we will reconvene next Tuesday for the 2 o'clock consent agenda. With Monday being a holiday, we will not be here, so we will see everyone back next Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Thank you.